On the last part, Goku and the three Saiyans travel over to planet Namek. Initially suspicious, the Namekians did not welcome the four Saiyans with open arms. Even though Goku tried to be as friendly as possible, the three Saiyans behind him gave off this terrifying aura. Thankfully, Guru intervened and told the four Saiyans to come over to his humble abode. Going through Goku's memories, Guru decides to give Goku a hand, unlocking some of his latent potential. This pushes Goku's power level into the millions, which shocks the three Saiyans greatly. Guru tells Goku and the other three Saiyans the story of Katas and the nameless Namekian. But in the meantime, he helps Goku along under the noses of the three Saiyans, utilizing the Namekian Dragon Balls on the other side of the planet to revive Kami on Earth. As Kami comes back to life, utterly confused at his predicament, so does his other half, Piccolo Jr. After realizing that each other had no idea how they revived, Kami flies off to the lookout to look for answers, while Piccolo Jr. goes over into the wilderness. That, however, wasn't his goal. He was flying towards the nearest stronger key signature that he felt. Meanwhile, a certain someone was feeling a little antsy. Frieza wanted to know what the three Saiyans had been up to, but they had destroyed his only means of spying on them, which was through the Scouter. How will things unfold from here? Will Frieza finally make his move? And what about Kami and Piccolo Jr.? Well, these are questions we'll answer today on Dragon Ball Z. Popo feels a familiar key flying upwards. He couldn't believe it. He didn't want to believe it. Had Goku managed to achieve the impossible? As Kami comes back onto the lookout, Popo immediately hugs Kami. As Kami hugs Popo back, albeit unwillingly. Kami asks Popo to recount all the events since his death, as Popo starts to recap everything that had occurred so far. Meanwhile, Piccolo Jr. arrives in front of Tien Shinhan's house. Tien walks out, with Chaozu behind him glaring straight at Piccolo Jr., asking him what he wanted. Goku had already briefed them what might happen while he was off planet, so Piccolo Jr.'s resurrection didn't come off as much of a surprise to Tien. However, Tien refused to tell Piccolo Jr. anything. After all, Tien still saw Piccolo Jr. as a force of evil. This version of Piccolo Jr. had never redeemed himself. Piccolo Jr. smirks, asking if Tien thought that he was giving him a choice. If Tien didn't tell him what he knew, he would end him. However, Piccolo Jr. soon realizes that he was in quite a bit of a predicament. As even Chaozu was quite a bit stronger than him, Piccolo Jr. gets his ass handed him by Tien and Chaozu, as Tien and Chaozu beat him up relentlessly. Tien obviously wasn't gonna end his life, but giving him a beating wasn't something that was ruled out either. Piccolo Jr. crossed away utterly humiliated and injured, and still without any knowledge of what had transpired. Meanwhile, Goku and the three Saiyans bid farewell to planet Namek as they returned to Earth. Vegeta, at this point, was utterly and absolutely pissed off. They followed Kakarot all the way here, only for Kakarot to receive a huge power boost. This entire trip basically didn't benefit them at all whatsoever. But Goku's immense power made Vegeta reluctant to voice any of his complaints out. After all, the gap between in power was so immense and too ridiculous to get at this point in time. Goku could kill any of them anytime he wanted to. So, let's go back to planet Earth. Kami was glad that Goku had made a good guardian in the past few years. But the lack of Dragon Balls specifically on Earth was still concerning. Even though he was no longer the guardian of Earth, looks like his presence was still required on Earth purely for the Dragon Balls. And now that Goku and the rest were far ahead of Piccolo Jr., Piccolo Jr. should be a non-issue from now on. Goku returns to Earth and immediately goes to greet Kami. Kami and Goku share a heartfelt reunion, while Vegeta and the other two Saiyans go somewhere on Earth to train. They will still lose cannons, but Vegeta's pride prevented him from destroying Earth before he defeated Kakarot in a fair fight. However, that fight will have to wait, because Frieza has finally embarked towards Earth, keen to figure out what the three Saiyans have been up to in the past 1+ year. Obviously, everyone is unaware and unprepared for Frieza's arrival. As Frieza makes his way towards Earth, in the meantime, Kami decides to remake the Dragon Balls. The constant presence of threats on Earth meant that Earth having their own set of Dragon Balls was basically essential. A few days later, Frieza's ship has finally arrived, hovering above the Earth's atmosphere. The three Saiyans sense the sinister power, but aren't actually aware that this was Frieza. After all, they just learned how to sense ki just a while back, though this power was monstrous, only behind what Goku had displayed on Namek. Goku and Kami stand on Kami's lookout, looking towards the ship in the atmosphere. They didn't know who this was, but from what they were sensing, this person didn't seem like they were here with good intentions. Frieza makes his way onto Earth as the humans all gather, along with the three Saiyans as well as Goku and Gohan. Observing the ship closely, the three Saiyans now know that Frieza had somehow managed to get a hold on their location. Vegeta tells Goku to watch out. This was Frieza, the one that enslaved the Saiyan race, the supposed strongest person in the universe. Goku was excited. Goku clenches his fist in slight trepidation as the Space Emperor walks out along with his Frieza soldiers behind him. Several other Frieza soldiers also spread out behind the Space Emperor along with Zarbon and Dodario. Frieza asks the three Saiyans how they have been and what they've been up to. Vegeta tells Frieza to mind his own business. They didn't need to tell Frieza about everything they did. Frieza looks around. Everyone there looked pretty unremarkable and unassuming, except the kid with the tail and the man in the orange uniform. In fact, somehow Frieza knew that they were both Saiyans. Gohan's existence rang many alarms with Frieza. Somewhere out in the universe, the monkeys have been reproducing. Frieza has had enough. He tells his soldiers to spread out as they surround all the Z fighters. Frieza beckons Zarbon and Dodario forward to tell them to take care of the Saiyans. If they failed their task, they will be severely punished. Zarbon and Dodario gave an audible gulp. Frieza's punishments were definitely the worst, so they stepped forward, prepared to dish out as much punishment as they could. The rest of the humans prepared to fight as well. Frieza didn't bring his entire army with him, but it wasn't a small force either. As a fight of absolute chaos begins, this is where we'll end off for now. Will the Z fighters be able to prevail against Frieza and his forces? Or will Frieza wipe them off the face of the earth? Well, these are questions we'll answer in the next part on Dragon Ball Z.